It's also powerful for dealers when they want to purchase vehicles and acquire them. They want to know what's happening.
Hello and welcome to Your Place. I'm Dennis McGinn, founder and CEO of vehicle reconditioning and communications company Rapid Recon. At Your Place, we visit guests at their place of business to engage in conversations about the auto industry. Today we're talking with Kelly Lawson, product marketing manager for Experian Automotive. For more than a decade, Kelly has worked directly with hundreds of dealers across the country to improve their year-over-year sales. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me today.
So take a minute here, Kelly, if you would, and tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you do what you do.
Sure. As you had indicated, I've worked with dealers all over the country around automotive marketing, um, you know, equity mining, data mining, direct mail, email, all kinds of different marketing things over the last about 15 years. In the last 2 years, I've come to Experian, and really we've been focusing in really more on the power of the data behind effective marketing strategies. So that's kind of the cornerstone of where the difference is. And for me, it's kind of exciting because it's taking it to the next level. Just like the market changes, especially in a post-COVID world, it's really exciting to be able to move into that next level of marketing and to bring things to dealers that they hadn't thought of in the past.
So tell me about how your business has changed, like everybody else's over the last 2 years. I mean,
So you have
it's
like
got to
4 hours for
be a
this?
whirlwind. Well, no,
It,
just maybe the top three.
yeah. Okay. So if I was going to say the top three, of course, we all know, the automotive arena hit by the pandemic, closing doors, changing everything, right? That's the first giant speed bump we had to be able to help dealers be able to sell effectively and market effectively in the face of the pandemic. Then on the heels of that, hitting the chip shortage, inventory changes, it totally changes your marketing strategies, all of those things. And now as we are actually kind of seeing the next change where we're seeing some inventory come back on lots and we're seeing things kind of return, being able to help dealers be able to find a new normal in all areas from their selling process, their marketing process, and then also looking at how consumers receive marketing and how they want to have a more omni-channel custom experience instead of a flat direct mail traditional experience, being able to blend things. So those are probably the three biggest changes in the last 2 years for me.
I heard something yesterday that I found extremely interesting, and we all read the same things about how through the pandemic and omni media kind of ideas, how nobody really is going to want to come into the dealerships anymore because they don't have to. Everything can be done online and so on. And I heard yesterday that's just not true. I mean, that still 70% of the buyers, even if on the EV side, they want to come into the dealership. What are your thoughts about that, and how would that change your thinking?
Well, I definitely think that there's a shift, right? We didn't do digital retailing with a great percentage 5 years ago. In a pre-COVID world, it was like 4 to 5% of automotive sales was via digital retailing. Very, very small, very unique situations. COVID changed things and it changed perspective. The other big underlying factor driving some of those digital retailing processes is generational buying. Seeing millennials come more into the market. But as I say that, we got to keep it in perspective. How much of the market still is represented by millennials, right? Your Gen Z buyers are your biggest buyers. And as a member of Gen Z who recently purchased a vehicle, yes, I did a ton of research online, of course, but I went into the dealership to purchase my vehicle, right? So I still think that that's a very accurate situation. There are parts of the process that consumers want to do at home, but definitely that final purchase for the most part is still going to take place traditionally in a dealership.
So obviously we're all part of the business getting back to whatever the new normal is, and being on the reconditioning side, or what I would call the time to line side of the business. we see a lot of the little problems that have to do with smooth flow of getting things ready. But I've kind of my perspective is, and I'd like to get your take on this, is that speed and accuracy of getting your cars reconditioned is now become paramount. Uh, no matter what you've got. I mean, the idea that uh, we know what cars we're going to stock and how we're going to replace what we've got and how we're going to merchandise them and price them appropriately.
Mhm.
That seems like it's pretty well there. That seems like it's routine now. But what's not routine is that the constant challenge you have uh, getting the cars customer sale ready. And so I struggle a lot with this. And of course, you're helping a lot of customers, uh, thousands of them, think about helping them uh, match up what they want through the experience, the buying experience. So, any comments about that? I mean, what are your
Yes,
thoughts?
so much. Yeah, the road to the sale has so many stops along the way, right? And being able to reach consumers through marketing is one thing. Another thing that Experian, with the breadth and depth of data that we have, because we are a provider of vehicle, car, and credit data, you put all of that together and you really can have a great holistic picture of the market. The part of the benefit that comes with that by having that awareness is knowing what vehicles are being purchased, knowing what vehicles to put on your lot. With the Experian Marketing Engine, we actually are helping dealers be able to locate vehicles in the midst of a chip shortage and get them on the lot. We're also helping them move the vehicles that they have on the lot and definitely have an awareness of what vehicles to put on the lot to maximize their profit centers. Along with that comes reconditioning and being aware of the needs to get those vehicles lot ready. Time is money. So being able to do that quickly is the most important thing. If dealers are able to purchase vehicles from consumers directly rather than auction, it typically saves them a lot of money and time. And again, that's like doubling down on being able to have some profit put into those deals for the dealers. So it's definitely leveraging data about the market to know what consumers to reach out to, who's likely in market. So you've got that marketing to drive in business. You also have knowing the market to know what vehicles to put on your lot, which vehicles to put the money into, to invest, to have them on your lot, and then being able to sell the vehicles that you have. So putting all those things, that kind of builds into that reconditioning and used vehicle sales.
Oh, that's really right there with the same perspective and that speed with which you make the decisions on how much to invest from the used car manager or the wherever is making that decision. Obviously, they're one of you. You're the people that are listening to you, right? They're looking at the data, what's changed, and so just another little thing that I've picked up recently from one of our groups, and we really focus on groups all the way from the big publics to I love the 10 store groups and 20 store groups because they're a little easier to communicate with and find somebody that can make a decision. But just in the last month, they're now moving in a different direction where they're not stocking cars. They're only replacing what they sell. And so it seems like they're getting a little hesitant about the economics of this business going into the fall. Are you seeing any of that yet?
I'm seeing it to some degree. Again, it depends on the type of dealer. Your larger dealer groups are not hesitating at all, right? Because they can withstand if they take a little bit more risk right now with given the economic situations. The smaller dealers, individuals, and small groups might not have that ability to wait out a storm if the economy ends up putting them in a situation. But by and large, we are seeing inventory on lots slowly creeping closer back to normal volumes. I'm not saying lot turn times, right? Vehicles are still flying off lots very fast, which is great for dealers. Again, comes back to that speed. Speed is money. All that stuff helps our dealers be profitable. But we are seeing more dealers have more inventory on their actual lot. of course, predominantly used inventory with a few exceptions, but predominantly used inventory is slowly creeping back to the levels of a year and a half ago. We're not quite at 2 years ago, but we're starting to see those lots fill back up.
What one kind of maybe almost final question: what do you hear from your customers about the information they're not getting? In other words, we never totally satisfy our customers. There's always something that they're not quite getting. And I'd be really curious to hear from you is what are the things that they want more of? And particularly in your case, because you have such a broad view of the whole industry.
Right, right. I think the biggest feedback I hear from dealer clients, and it's small dealer clients, large dealer groups, all say the same thing. And they look at the depth of the market data. So we have the Experian marketing engine, and within that, we provide dealers with visibility into their backyard. So beyond, we've talked about, lot optimization, selling vehicles, marketing to customers, finding people in market, all of those really powerful marketing strategies. We're also giving them visibility into what is selling, who is selling, what's the lease penetration, what's the credit that's happening, which lenders are financing. We're giving them transparency across the market that they don't get from their OEMs. They don't really know because you don't have visibility unless you have this level of data into what's happening in your backyard, in your market. And what I hear from our clients is, we partnered with you for marketing. We partnered with you to have these powerful audiences, to know consumers that were coming into market, to know what messages and what channels to communicate with them on. But we're getting even more because we're getting this visibility into the market. They can have customized reports emailed to them. We have a platform with all these charts and graphs and the information that they want right at their fingertips. I think that that's really the piece in 2022. Data really is key. Knowing your market, knowing your consumers, knowing the market conditions allows you to be able to respond rather than react. Dealers who wait to react don't weather the storm. The dealers that can respond and make good business decisions, whether it's inventory, staffing, processes, can be able to be really profitable regardless of what's happening in the industry. So by and large, it's the breadth and depth of market awareness made simple, right? If we just sent you a bunch of spreadsheets, it wouldn't be simple. Being able to make it really simple for them to be able to see what they need to know is the biggest feedback I get from all of our dealer clients.
That is really useful information, and I appreciate that perspective. I'm going to just throw one other little thing in here too, and because since you supply a lot of good, solid information and data to the customers, and they want more and more. From the reconditioning side, it seems like now the buyers, they know they're paying too much for the cars or more than they'd like to pay, so they're paying a premium, and they don't like it, but they're going along with it. But to me, it seems like they're going to keep the cars longer because obviously they're lasting longer, right? I mean, now 120,000 mile car is still kind of mid life, is from what I see, especially if it's a brand, depending on the brand, but most of them are
Right.
like that. And so all that information that used to be out there about what did we do to get this car fixed up and ready for a consumer, it seems like the buyers want to see it all. They don't want to just know, oh, you put new brakes and tires on this car. That's really good, but tell me everything that you did, because I'm going to be keeping this car longer, and it's going to stay in my cohort. So, you see a opportunity for Experian to somehow facilitate that type of data coming to the customers? I'm trying to figure that out myself, but
yeah, there's definitely benefit for vehicle history reporting. So Experian has the AutoCheck Vehicle History Report, and we have really worked on, we're really in the midst of a report redesign. I'm probably not supposed to talk about that yet because it's not launching until January. It's being piloted and baited right now. So now I'm letting the cat out of the bag. But I will say part of what we really tried to focus on is expanding service data that we have in the vehicle history and the ownership. Was it a fleet vehicle that then turned retail? Has it been a one owner, a three owner? Has it had accidents? Where has that damage been in the accidents? Looking at the service history and the maintenance records that may be available, because it depends if dealers are willing to share some of that information as well. But being able to provide that transparent vehicle history report is really powerful and key. It's powerful for the consumers who want to have that information. It's also powerful for dealers when they want to purchase vehicles and acquire them. They want to know what's happening. So there's lots of, really important things like, we just had a major hurricane that impacts Florida. There are more auctions taking place in Florida than just about anywhere. That southeastern United States is like auction haven for vehicles, and people from the north drive down there to get vehicles all the time. Well, we need to be aware of what vehicles have been registered in the counties impacted by floods. That doesn't mean that they had flood damage, but it kind of gives you that visibility. So now before a dealer purchases that vehicle, they can actually do an on-site investigation to make sure that they're not getting a vehicle that's basically been made to look okay, but came from a flood damaged area. So there's lots of different things. The vehicle history report from AutoCheck is the industrial strength tool that helps dealers be able to know what they're acquiring. And we can partner with dealerships also to give them visibility where their service data is going to show up on that report so they can be able to deliver that to a consumer at purchase with confidence. This is what we've done. There are no open recalls on this vehicle. You can see it's been a one owner. You can see it's never had an accident. The airbag's never been deployed. All these things can really give confidence for them on the sales side as well as on purchasing beforehand.
Well, that's fascinating. It fits so well in with we're trying to provide just a piece of that, right? So what did you do to get this car ready to sell? And so trying to get that up there alongside all the other information that you're doing, the market information, and what cars are kind of thing, seems like it's getting to be a very bigger deal. I think the customers are getting smarter. It used to be, I think, a lot of the exotics, but I think Amazon and being able to evaluate things, especially if you're paying a premium. Everybody wants a bargain. Well, if you want a car now, not likely you're going to find a bargain. You're going to have to pay to the nose. So now we have to help that process along. What kind of marketing should the dealers be focusing on in this current market?
Well, I think the importance is creating an experience for consumers that feels custom. You'll hear that, in today's day and age, people live by their phone and they're shopping on Amazon, and it's as if Google knows everything they're thinking about because the ads they're seeing. That's not really exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at the demographics and the psychographics in your market area. So we all are familiar with demographics, right? We all know that word's been around forever. But when you think about psychographics, that's the why a consumer would want to buy. Right? Understanding the why, looking at your market and understanding which people are in the most likely position to be coming into market, and then being able to give them a marketing experience on the channel that resonates best. So dealers that are being really effective with marketing, even through the chip shortage and pandemic, are keeping themselves top of mind. They're selling service and parts as well as vehicles, right? You want to make sure when your lot's full that you're the first person that people are going to come to whenever they're ready to buy a vehicle. That's really important. So even through this time of chip shortage, our dealers really are focusing on making sure they're top of mind. The best way to deliver that message is to do it with the right message on the channels where consumers spend their time. At Experian, we spend a lot of time looking at consumers and their buying trends and market indicators for when they're going to be in market. And we're able to actually use modeling to determine what kind of messages and what kind of marketing channels. For example, there's multiple family groups 10 years ago, we would have marketed to all the family groups exactly the same. But with all the research that we've done and the awareness that we have, we've learned that there's different family groups that resonate more with a coupon or a flyer that you send in the mail through traditional marketing. While there's other family groups that are much more into digital, they're going to respond more to over the top ads or addressable video ads on their cellular device. So it's really finding the channel and the message so it feels tailored and custom. Purchasing a vehicle is the biggest purchase other than a house that people make. And they do it over and over again, right? They don't usually buy just one car. They usually don't last their entire life, right? So people want that purchase to be a very personal, custom experience. Omnichannel marketing is very expensive. So dealers can get that same custom experience by doing the right multi-channel messaging, getting those email ads, the social media ads, and even your traditional advertising, all to kind of have the right message to the right zip codes for those consumers most likely to buy. And that's really where the difference is for dealers right now in marketing to really be effective with their spend.
So along that line, I live in Palo Alto, California. And so this is kind of like, at any stop, there's at least 3 Teslas at any stoplight, and sometimes more. And it's just the way it is around here.
Right.
But how do you see? I mean, everybody wants to talk about EVs, but it seems like everybody's trying to get into this, but it seems like it's in total, it's not moving as fast as people were thinking. What are you hearing?
Well, you're 100% correct. The EV market still represents a small percentage of the overall market right now. It will grow. Manufacturers are building them, right? That is the wave of the future. The things that are holding the EV purchases back right now are things like, the infrastructure across the United States to be able to have charging stations where people would need them more to make it more accessible, right? Don't get me wrong. Most people who have a Tesla, for example, my next door neighbor has a Tesla and has a GMC, right? They use the GMC for their cross country trip when they drive between Nevada and Ohio. That's what they use that vehicle for. They use their Tesla to do all their running around, so they're not burning up gas left and right. So they have that benefit of being able to use. That's kind of where we're seeing most people, most families, if they already have an EV vehicle, have a vehicle that's not EV. And that's kind of the way I think the market's going to slowly adopt things until we have the infrastructure built up for EVs to be the common household thing, right? Till you can go to the local school football stadium and be able to charge your vehicle. You know what I mean? It's got to be available that readily for everybody to fill their garages with those cars.
Yeah, I've seen that here too. So, and it's getting to be where you have to make a reservation in Reno and make sure that you have got your restaurant picked out. It's kind of changing everybody's how they think about getting from A to B to C. So that's really fascinating. Any best practices that you might want to leave us with talking to our customer base, people watching this video? Just maybe some final thoughts of things that you would suggest they pay attention to that you're producing for them.
I think it's really important in 2022 to just be aware and to be listening more than ever, knowing what your consumers are wanting to buy and knowing that you can get those vehicles on your lot to make them able to be sold, knowing what consumers to reach out to, knowing the financing situation. Interest rates are going up. That is going to impact things. It is going to impact our business. It's going to slow down some people's ability to purchase. At the same time, people still need to have vehicles. So it's that listening and finding out where that balance is and being able to respond through marketing to reach the right people, through inventory optimization to make sure you've got your lot stocked with good quality vehicles. If you're focusing on used vehicles, knowing that vehicle history, being able to provide that vehicle history, really just having that information and that transparency. Consumers want transparency. That's the best way to build trust and the best way to be repeat and referral business, to make sure that you have that transparency, that you are selling a good quality vehicle at an appropriate price for your consumers.
That's great. I love giving that kind of feedback. And I love the fact that we play a little part in that picture because of the need for that transparency comes right down to, well, what did you do to make sure this car is going to work for me or as long as I want to have it? So
Yeah.
thank you for all your time. I appreciate it. And uh, we'll see you again, I hope, down the line a bit, and we'll kind of see what's happened since then. Because the one thing we know is we don't know exactly what's going to happen next. I guess that's the biggest
Right.
lesson of the last 2 years is the unexpected is likely to happen. So we'll see. Well, have a great day. Have a great week. Thank you very much for your time, and I've learned a lot here, and it's very insightful. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.